Hey everyone, D with DJR Union, and today we're going to be going over a brand new deck, not really brand new, but a deck for Code Geass. It's going to be Kyoshiro Tohdoh, and the Kyoshiro Tohdoh deck is very similar to another deck that we already have a deck list on, so if you haven't seen that, thumbnail's right here. You can check the link in the description. It probably should do it over here. The link in the description below, and in that description, you will see another deck list with a similar playstyle to this one. The difference is, well, you'll see if you watch the deck list. So, without further ado, we're going to jump right into the Kyoshiro Tohdoh deck. So let's go ahead and jump right in. First up, obviously we're going to be running 4 of the man himself, Kyoshiro Tohdoh. 0 cost because, as you know, he is going to be the main focus of the deck. This deck does indeed revolve around him and his 4 holy swords. So you're running 4 of him, considering what we're going to be getting into very shortly. Next up, I have you running 3 Hard Reeds. And the reason I have you running only 3 of them is because we're not running 12 0 costs in this deck. In fact, we're only running 11, but there is a plan for it, and the plan is that my boy Hard Reed here is going to be helping you look through your deck very quickly. As you can see, if you look at the top card of your deck, you get to choose to place it on the top or bottom of the deck, which essentially helps you go through your deck and put cards that you may not need on your next turn at the bottom, and cards that you may need on your next turn right at the top. So you're not going to run too many of him because you don't want to see him too much, as opposed to some of the other cards that we're going to be getting into shortly. Next up, we are running 4 of these C2s. That's right, we're running 4 of this because the energy generation. That is the main focus of this deck, is needing energy generation, considering how we are going to be playing a lot of cards in the back line, in the energy line, and pushing them up to the front line in order to do more attacks. C2 is going to be one of those ways to help you manage your energy and help you get quicker energy sooner, or help you maintain good energy later in the game when all your energy cards are in the front line and being more aggressive. Speaking of energy, we're going to be running 2 Kaname Ogis. Ogi here is very good for energy generation. He is essentially your only energy generator card. You're not going to really want to put him on the front line because he doesn't really flow with the deck as well, but that energy generation really does help out because of the fact that you're being super aggressive with this deck. You're going to be pushing a lot of cards to the front line, but cards like Kaname Ogi will be fine with staying in the back line. And without further ado, now that we have some of the more basic cards out of the way, we're going to get into the real meat and potatoes of the deck. Kyoshiro Tohdoh, the 3 energy card. We're running not 1, not 2, but 4 Kyoshiro Tohdohs in here. As you can see, this guy, very vital to the deck. He is your color trigger, so he is going to be able to help you play cards from your sideline when he triggers in your life. And, most importantly, his frontline effect on the main phase, he gets to essentially increase the power of 4 Holy Sword cards on your field. And that's the entirety of the field, including the energy line, which doesn't really affect too much, considering they have no real way to, I guess, rotate. But still, all 4 Holy Swords on your field get an attack boost, and it really helps with some of the raids, considering how most of the raids that are 4 Holy Swords, in fact, all the raids that are 4 Holy Swords, are only 3,500 BP. The extra 500 given by this Kyoshiro Tohdoh, if he's on the front line, remember that he has to be on the front line for it, that 500 BP puts him at 4k, therefore causing them to be more of a threat in the end. Let's introduce those 4 Holy Swords, shall we? The first one here is Nagisa Chiba. That's right, on your main phase you get to switch her to resting at any point in time to choose a character on your opponent's front line to lose 500 BP till the end of the turn. It's not a significant amount of BP that is lost, however, that BP lost will make a big impact. I emphasized impact for a reason. Kosetsu Urabe. Kosetsu Urabe here, when he's played, you get to choose up to 1 character on your field, and it gets 1k BP until the end of the turn, really helping you get over high BP characters, such as your Suzaku, who will be at 5k BP until essentially the start of his next turn. Kosetsu Urabe will be able to help you get over that on your turn while he's still at the 5k BP mark. So it's a really good ability, and you know, you gotta have 2 of him, you gotta have the 4 Holy Swords together. I feel like having 2 of him really helps out with increasing the battle power of this deck. Next up, my boy Shogo Asahina. You're only running 2 of him in this deck, and I was kind of debating whether or not to run 3 or not, but I feel like the last 4 Holy Sword has a lot more value than Shogo, and I couldn't warrant running 3 of him and 4 of the others since I needed the extra card for something else. and we're going to get into that card soon. But Shogo Asahina is really good because when he attacks at any point in time, you may then place one card from your hand into the sideline to add a 4 Holy Sword affinity, Kyoshiro Tohdoh, or Geass Toto Fighter card from your sideline to your hand. So that means, let's say you have your Geass Toto Fighter out and it dies, you can bring it back with Shogo Asahina. Let's say your Kyoshiro Tohdoh's out and it dies, you can bring it back with Shogo Asahina. Yes, any card you use can be brought back with Shogo Asahina. Essentially, this entire deck can be brought back with Shogo Asahina, and it's really good because it helps with a lot of the big combo plays that will happen in this deck. Now let's bring it up to the fourth one. Not really the most attractive one, but definitely one of the strongest ones in the deck, is Ryoga Senba. When he dies, which is really great because you get to use him as block fodder, when he dies, look at the top 3 cards of your deck to reveal a 4 Holy Sword, Kyoshiro Tohdoh, or Geass Toto Fighter card among them, add it to your hand, and then place the rest on the bottom in any order, and you don't even have to sideline a card from your hand if you add a card to your hand through this effect. But you also get to get a 4 Holy Sword affinity, a Kyoshiro Tohdoh, or a Geass Toto Fighter from your deck to your hand, and it's so good because you get to instantly start using his ability to get straight into your combo quicker and more efficiently than ever seen before. That's why I want to run 4 of him, because he really helps with getting that up. But it's not just him that helps you search cards. That's right, the Burai Kai is the first raid that we're going to be getting into. The Burai Kai can be raided by not only the 4 Holy Swords, but Kyoshiro Tohdoh as well, which really helps with the balance of raids in this deck because it's not required for just 4 Holy Swords or just Kyoshiro Tohdoh. Either of them can raid this card. So, when you play this card, you get to look at the top 4 cards to reveal a 4 Holy Sword, Geass Toto Fighter, or Kyoshiro Tohdoh, and put it into your hand, place the rest on the bottom in any order. Again, no reason to sideline it. It is a 4 Holy Sword card, which means that it gets a 500 BP boost based on the Kyoshiro Tohdoh, and not to mention, it's just a really good way to search through your deck. This card is just really good. You get to go through your deck quickly, you get to do so much with it, and you have a 3500 BP character, and if you have that Kyoshiro Tohdoh, it's actually 4k BP instead. But that's not the only raid we're going to be talking about here. We're actually also going to bring over Geass 4 Holy Swords Fighter. This character is really powerful, and one of the main reasons why it's so powerful is because it cannot be blocked by 2k or less BP characters. Now, I know you're probably wondering, did I say it can't be blocked by 2k or less BP characters? That is correct, meaning that any character that is really weak, or essentially a fodder, cannot block it successfully, including most nullify impact cards, which, as we all know, are typically 2k or less BP anyways. So, when this card gets the impact that it has available to it, it won't be able to get nullified with that impact because it doesn't get blocked by 2k or less BP. Plus, a lot more attacks can go through because it can't be blocked by that 2k or less BP, and your opponent may not be comfortable with blocking with a stronger character, or your opponent may just not be comfortable with blocking it at all. And even if it does block with a stronger character, it's one of their stronger characters that take the damage, that take the hit, that die. Meaning that it's only their weaker characters that they still have out on the field, meaning you have more advantage when it comes around to their attack turn. Because now you're defending against a weaker character, a 2k or less character, and not having to worry about it at all. So this character, really good for that. Not to mention, when it gets its impact, it's if you have a combined total of 3 or more other 4 Holy Sword, Kyoshiro Tohdoh, or Geass Toto Fighter cards on the field. Other cards, meaning other than this card. So let's say you have 4 of this guy on the field. All 4 of these will have impact because you have 3 or more other, right? Plus, it says on the field. Does not say frontline, it says field. So even if your energy line has these cards, it will still get this benefit, which is really powerful, and I think it's really good for the aggressive playstyle because let's say you have some of the cards in your energy line, this is a way to get more aggressive with it despite that. So yeah, overall good card, and then once again, when combined with my boy Kyoshiro Tohdoh, when you activate his main phase ability, he gives 500 BP to essentially all of these, but if he's on the front line, it's going to be only 3 of them, so that's still 3 4k BP characters coming through for the attack. But here's the thing, this isn't even the strongest raid in the deck. No. There's one raid that far exceeds even that raid. I'm talking about Geass Toto Fighter himself. Gekka Toto Fighter here has 2 abilities. On the main phase, if he's on the front line, all 4 Holy Sword affinity cards get 500 BP, which is really strong because that's essentially what the other Kyoshiro Tohdoh does, except it's on a raid character with 4k BP. So, since all the other cards will probably get the 300 BP, not these ones, but the other ones I just showed you, these little bad boys, since all of these guys will get the extra 500 BP from him, he still is at 4k, so he doesn't need the BP anyways. They do. So them hitting 4k, you have 4 4ks coming up across the field, they're going to be in danger. But that's not all. When you attack, once per turn, you get to choose up to 1 4 Holy Sword affinity card on your field and switch it to active. So let's say hypothetically, right? Just hypothetically, let's say you got 3 of these guys on the field, and this Gekka 4 Holy Sword Fighter on the field. This is just a completely hypothetical situation. This is assuming they don't hit a special in life. This is assuming they don't have a response for this any way, shape, or form. You swing 4 Holy Sword Fighter. You swing Toto, restand, swing, swing Toto, restand, swing, swing Toto, restand, swing. And this guy has impact because of these 3 cards that are on the field. He gets impact because there's 3 of them on the field. So that's guaranteed 4 impact damage that's coming through. Not to mention that it's just a real dangerous field to be on, because these guys attacking 4k each, if they don't have characters on their field that are stronger than 4k, which odds are very low on that point, unless you're going up against like Kurapika, Suzaku on the turn Lancelot, the turn right after Lancelot came out, or heck, even Toto, not this Toto, the Toto from JJK. If he comes out that turn after, he'll be at 6k, so even still. But looking at this, you have options with this Toto Fighter, and getting him out quickly is important to the deck because you need him and a bunch of other cards to combo together. So Gekka with Gekka, Toto Fighter and 4 Holy Sword Fighter work well. Heck, you can even put the Gekka Toto Fighter with another card that has a really powerful effect. That's right, I'm talking about Shoga Asahina. If the chips are down and you have a really big hand, but a lot of your important cards are in the sideline, attack with Shogo Asahina. With Shogo Asahina, you discard a card from your hand to add that important card back to your hand from your sideline. Then attack with Toto Fighter to restand Asahina, swing with Asahina again, discard a different card to add that important card back to your hand. Now you're ready to go off again. Now you're ready to do some more damage. You're able to combo so much with this deck because of Toto Fighter being able to restand a lot of the cards that do have powerful abilities like Shogo Asahina when attacking, or even this Gekka's 4 Holy Sword Fighter with getting multiple impacts through at once. Obviously that is the main combo, those 2 cards with Gekka Toto Fighter. This is the main combo of the deck. You're going to want to use this with this to do damage, or this with this for utility. Those are essentially what you're focused on in this deck. This deck doesn't really do much outside of that. But there are ways to help you get to these cards even faster. Even faster. That's right, I'm talking about Order of the Black Knights. And this was a card I mentioned earlier with why I only have 2 Asahinas instead of 3. Now, I might change it and test that out eventually. But right now we're running 2 Asahinas and 3 Order of the Black Knights. And the reason we're running 3 Order of the Black Knights is because there's a lot of Order of the Black Knight cards in this deck. That's right. We got the 4 Holy Swords, which automatically classify as Black Knights. We got the Gekkas, which automatically classify as Order of the Black Knights. Not to mention the Burai Kai that we brought up earlier. That's right, it is also an Order of the Black Knight. But that's not all. Not only are the 4 Holy Swords, Kyoshiro Tohdoh himself, and the Gekkas and the Burai Kais for Order of the Black Knights, but so is your C2 and your Kaname Ogi. So is your Diethard Reed. These cards that are just used for utility, they can also be searched out thanks to Order of the Black Knights. And Order of the Black Knights giving you this opportunity to search for them. But not only that, let's say you draw. Let's say you draw with Order of the Black Knights, and you draw, I don't know, these 3 cards. We're gonna save this card for later. But you draw these 3 cards. These 2 Order of the Black Knights are going to help because, boom, you play C2, next turn you'll get 2 energy. You play Kaname Ogi, next turn you'll get 2 energy. These These cards are just so good that Order of the Black Knights is actually a very beneficial card. Not to mention, on your trigger, you get to draw a card, therefore going a little bit deeper in your deck, which allows you to then make bigger plays. So even if this card ends up in your life, it still helps you out in the end. Maybe not to the extent of adding up to two Order of the Black Knight cards to your hand, but to the extent of, hey, you get an extra card deeper in your deck, which is very vital, very important. Now, I know everyone's been wondering, what's the kill card for this deck? Because it can't be Absolute Power since we don't have a Lelouch in the deck. That's true. It's going to be Revolution, Life or Death, Free Formation. You're running 4 of them, as usual. 4 kill cards, obviously. Now, the reason you're running Revolution, Life or Death, Free Formation is because it's a very strong character. You get to choose 1 character on your opponent's frontline, and it loses 1,000 BP for every single 4 Holy Sword Affinity, Kyoshiro Tohdoh, or Geass Toto Fighter card on your field until the end of the turn. That's right. That's right. Not on the frontline, on your field. So let's say completely hypothetical, which isn't a complete hypothetical. It is possible. You get your 2 Geass 4 Holy Sword Fighters on your field. You have a Toto Fighter. No, you have 2 Toto Fighters on your front line, right? Let's say, boom, you bring in your Burai Kai, who is also a 4 Holy Sword. Let's say you have your 0 cost Kyoshiro Tohdoh to back you up in the end. You have your Nagisa, who's benefiting you in the back line. And then let's say this turn you just played your Urabe. You have a full 8 field. Somehow they got a character to 8k BP. I don't know how they did it, but boom, Revolution, Life or Death lowers your BP by 1,000 for each card that classifies as a Kyoshiro Tohdoh, a 4 Holy Sword, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or Geass Toto Fighter. Boom, boom. That's a total of 8 cards. That opponent is losing 8k BP. 8k BP. For 1 little card. For 1 little card. For just 1 measly little card. This card's really good because it helps you with killing things. It doesn't just kill it, it lowers BP. Sure, it won't have an effect on cards like Kenpachi that isn't affected by BP reducing abilities, or future cards that will be coming out in future sets that won't be affected by BP reducing abilities, but it reduces characters' BP by 1,000 times the number of cards on your field, based on this criteria here. It's really powerful, and I think that it just fits the deck really well, since your deck is all about flooding the field as quick as possible. Therefore, you're going to have access to hitting 4k cards very quickly, very easily. Sure, your Order of the Black Knight cards like your Kaname Ogi and your C2 over here, they won't have any effect on this. But still, since the main focus of the deck is literally Kyoshiro Tohdoh and the 4 Holy Swords, Revolution, Life or Death Army is the best card to go with it. Last but not least, you knew it was coming. Everyone knows it's coming. I'm talking about the final card, United States of Japan. You're running 4 of it because you can't have the risk of playing only 2 and getting down to the wire and realizing, oh, I already have my 2 in my hand and I'm screwed. It's best to have 4. But yeah, 4 because combo. Since it's a deck that's all about flooding, you're going to want to use United States of Japan's to combo, to do a bunch of actions. And hey, you never know. That last hit you take may just be a final that saves your life. So, that's it for the deck list. That is going to finalize the deck list. Now, it's a pretty interesting deck, all about flooding the board, very similar to the other deck list. I do highly recommend checking it out, again in the link in the description below. However, pretty soon, R and I are going to be doing a head-to-head with the Kyoshiro Tohdoh deck versus the Cornelia deck to see which deck comes out on top. So why don't you go ahead and leave a comment thinking which one you think is going to win after watching both videos. You can leave that in the comment section of this video or the comment section of his video. In fact, why not do a little rivalry thing? If you vote for him, go in his video and comment. If you vote for me, come in this video and comment. I'm just saying you might want to vote for me. I don't know. I have faith in my boy Kyoshiro Tohdoh. I have faith in my boy. But with all that being said, I will see you in the next video. And remember, let's improve together.